What is up, guys? My name is Iceberg of Iceberg's Gaming here. Today I have a brand new video for you. Today I'm going to be talking about the class mods in Borderlands 2. Specifically going to be talking about the Commando Axton class in Borderlands 2. There's a whole bunch of class mods out there that can increase your health, fire rate, your skills, and much more. So I want to give you guys the inside scoop on how to get these mods and how to be the most effective with them. So if that sounds interesting to you, please stick around. Alrighty guys, thank you so very much for sticking around. Like I said, today I'm going to be talking about Axton's class mods in Borderlands 2. And now you might think you know all there is to know about class mods, but I can assure you there are a whole bunch of them out there and they all have different features. So if you really want to make your character the best character you possibly can, I think this class mods video is going to be a very informative tip for you. So before I start about Axton specific class mods, let's go over class mods as a whole. What do they do? Where can you find them? Are they expensive? Are they cheap? Etc. etc. Well, first of all, you can find these pretty much anywhere. They're going to be in those porta potties, they're going to be in chests, you're going to be able to buy them, you're going to be able to sell them, stuff like that. They are relatively expensive, about the same price as, you know, your shields. So not ridiculously expensive, so not as much as those really expensive guns, but you know, they're decently priced. However, these make one of the biggest advantages, or make one of the biggest changes rather, in your character in Borderlands 2. Whatever class mod you have is really going to make what kind of character you have kind of stand out, you know. So that being said, let's get right into Axton's class skills and what you're going to want for your certain playstyle. So I'm just going to go through the list. I think there's like 8 or so different class mods. That's actually a lot. And so I'm just going to go through the list and tell you all about what I think, and then we'll kind of end this video with a summary and which one you should be using for your playstyle. So let's get right into it. I should have on screen these stats as well, so you can kind of sing along with me, if you will, if you're interested in this kind of stuff. You just don't want to hear my voice, you'd rather read it. I also have a link to this article where I found some of this information. But anyway, so without me yapping on about nothing, let's get into it. So our first mod is the Engineer. Now this Engineer only has one ability, and that is Action Skill Cooldown Rate. So what this means is whenever you use your turret, since you are Axton, you're going to throw it out there, this is probably going to be like, say, 12% faster cooldown speed. So that means you'll be able to throw your turret out 12% faster than you would without the mod. It also does possible skill boosts to the skills Battlefront, Resourceful, and Sentry. So the Engineer is your pretty basic class mod. It's not going to do a whole lot for you, but if you're one of those people who really enjoys using their skill cooldown, your action skill, this might be the class for you. But let's keep going because they get a little bit better as we move on. So then we're going to move on to the Grenadier, which does pretty much exactly what it says. Oh, I should also mention Engineer was made by Doll. So if you find a Doll class mod, check out, it might be one of those Engineer mods. But anyway, we're going to move on to Grenadier, which was made by Torque. In this, as you can imagine, it relates directly to grenade and explosive damage. It's going to buff your grenade damage and buff your explosive damage resist. So this actually makes you more of a tanky character with a little bit of a grenade addition. So that means that your grenades you throw are going to do more damage. Any grenades that are thrown at you are going to do less damage. Now this, in my personal opinion, enemies very rarely use explosive weaponry, so it's actually not going to have that big of an effect on you. But it does have some skill boosts like Steady, Impact, and Grenadier, which they're decent, they're helpful, but they're not very high during the tree, so they're alright. So let's keep moving down to Gunner, which is made by Vladov. Now this increases your team fire rate. Now of course this is one of those class mods that is unique in that it helps out your whole team. And if you're playing with a group of 4 and you all need a fire rate buff, because a fire rate buff is always useful, this would be a great class mod to have. However, if you're playing solo, this probably isn't the right one for you. However, it does affect the possible skills of Overlord, Steady, and Metal Storm. I'd also like to note that these skills that I'm reading off are not necessarily with the class mod. That's only if you find a really good one. So if you find maybe a blue class mod, it'll have some of these skills, but if you find a normal white one, it probably won't. So let's keep moving down the list to Point Man, which is made by the good old manufacturer Pangolin, I believe, Pangolin, something like that. And this is a great one if you want to build a tanky Axton. You're going to have faster health regeneration and more max health. So this kind of starts to kind of turn you into the more gunzerker mode. You're going to have lots of health, and that's always great. If you find yourself dying a lot because you just can't seem to stay alive, your health just seems too low, then this point man class mod is what you're definitely going to want to get. So now let's move on down to Rifleman. This is the kind of the classic, what you would imagine Axton being, the kind of the gunner. He's the guy with the AR. He does a lot of damage. He's just supposed to be an all-around good character. So what this is going to do is make his assault rifles even better than they were before. This is going to increase their magazine size and their damage. I think some people tend to overlook this just because it's an increase in magazine size, but a magazine size is great because you'll often find yourself with a lot of the more powerful guns, especially in this game where there's some single shot guns. They don't have very many bullets in the clip. They do a ton of damage, but they have a very, very slow reload time. So if you use it like this, you won't have to reload as much. Overall, it makes this class mod very worthwhile as Axton. So we're going to move down. We're starting to get into the more complicated class mods, which of course is very fun, but it's also very nichey, meaning that this only works in certain situations. So we moved on to Shock Trooper, which is made by Maliwan, and as you may have guessed, since Maliwan makes it, it is going to have some sort of elemental effect with it. This elemental effect is you're going to do shock damage resist. You're going to be resisting incoming shock damage, and then all of your shock damage outputted is going to be increased. So basically this is actually an extremely good class mod, because you'll notice most often your shields are going to be sometimes higher than your health, especially if you use turtle shields. So what you can do in this instance, if you have this class mod, you can use a turtle shield and your shield will go down very, very slowly because the shock damage that is coming into you, which would usually be super effective against shields, is going to be greatly reduced. And also, as a bonus, your shock damage does more damage. Your shock damage does more damage. That's kind of a little repetitive, but anyway, basically if you're using shotguns, they're going to be more powerful than they were before. So overall, I think that is a great little class mod. I think it's very effective. I think it's a defensive class mod and an offensive class mod at the same time. So that is probably one of my personal favorites for Axton. But there are some other good ones. Let's keep moving down the list to Specialist, which is made by Hyperion. This increases your SMG accuracy, and that's it. Now, my personal opinion of this is, if you're using SMGs, you probably shouldn't be Axton anyway. You might want to try a different character like Zero or the Siren, because they have more traits that are kind of catered towards SMG style of play, and Axton really isn't an SMG character. So my personal opinion, this Specialist class mod isn't all that great. Now let's keep moving down to Tactician, which is made by Anshin. Now this is another great class mod because it helps out the team. It increases their shield recharge rate, and it also increases their recharge delay. So what this means, when your shields do go down, your rate might be 3% to recharge them. So that means every 1 second your shield goes up 3%. With this, it would all go up 5%, for example. So again, this is one of those. So once again, this is one of those class mods that really helps out the team, and if you're playing by yourself, this is going to kind of be useless. So if you are playing by yourself, you probably don't want to get this. If you are a team player though, and you're playing with a full team of 4 people, this might be a great addition to your team and keep you guys alive just long enough to fight those big epic bosses that Borderlands 2 has. So we are starting to get down to the very bottom here. Our final class mod is the Veteran class mod, which is made by Doll, and this is going to make your reload speed increase and your magazine size increase. Now I would have to say that this is one of the, if not the best class mods for Axton, because as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of very, very powerful assault rifles in this game that seem to have kind of a 3-round burst, a single shot, very powerful, very few bullets in the clip. So what this does, this increases your mag size so you don't run out as quickly, but then when you do end up having to reload, that reload is faster. So overall, a great combination. You put it all together, that is just a great mod for this Axton character. So guys, that is going to conclude all of the classes, but I'm going to do a quick summary because I covered a whole ton of information, as well as I'm going to try to put on the entire chart on the screen right now. It might not fit, so I'm going to have to separate it into kind of 2 half charts, something like that, that'll appear over the next 30 seconds. But anyways, let's just do a quick recap. The 2, in my opinion, best class mods that you're definitely going to look out for are the ones made by Maliwan and Doll. doll makes a great class mod called the Veteran, which is going to increase your reload speed and magazine size, and Bio makes an amazing class mod called the Shock Trooper, which is going to increase your shock damage resist and electrode damage output. Also, there's one more thing I would highly recommend if you are playing with a team, and that is the Tactician class made by Axton, which is going to increase your recharge rate and your team shield recharge delay. Blah, that's a mouth load. I got a little bit tongue twisted in there, but I hope it's somewhat audible. But I think that is going to do it, guys. If you have any questions for me about class mods, please leave them down in the description. If you have any questions about anything, really, please leave them down in the description. I'm going to be doing the other 3 characters within the next week or so. You know, I'm just trying to put out videos as fast as I can, but there's just a lot going on. And with the new Call of Duty stuff like that coming out, I might shift my focus away from Borderlands 2 just a smidge, but I promise I will come back. So anyway, that is going to conclude this video. If you do like this kind of stuff, I would love a like. That would really help me out. And if you really like this kind of stuff, you're not already subscribed, consider clicking that subscribe button above. It really helps me out. I think you guys will enjoy this kind of tips, tricks, kind of original content I put out there. But I think that's going to about do it, guys. So thank you so very much for watching, and have a great day.